Welcome inside. We started this project in 2022 for a brother and sister. The kind of theme for the house was for it to feel like a boutique country hotel, because the purpose of it is for them to be able to rent it out. So you can actually come and stay. Why don't you make up your mind for yourself once you've had a look around? We've got a lot to look at, but why don't we start through into the kitchen? So my favourite thing about this project really is that the clients have such a similar taste to mine, so it made it very easy when we were doing the designs. From the initial design through to approval process was much quicker than most projects. We had a very similar sort of view on how this kitchen was going to look. We both knew that we wanted the really statement marble on the island and sort of wrapping around the rest of the kitchen. So I would say probably the kitchen was really designed around this marble. It took us quite a while to find it because given how big the island is, there was only a few slabs that really were the size of this island. So it made it a little bit trickier trying to get the perfect sort of match on everything, but we made it work. The clients were really involved with sort of everything in here, down to choosing like the finish colour on the stain on the island, paint colours, which was really nice to be super collaborative with them. The island was quite a key part of the room because we wanted to make sure you can fit a good amount of people on the side of it. There's a lot of space for when they're entertaining. You can have like buffet foods and things up on the side, and just a space that is just quite inviting and quite sociable. So that was really quite a big focus, and also taking up a lot of space in this room. It's such a wide room. We've still got a really decent space either side of the island. Any smaller, it would have just looked a little bit silly plonked in the middle of the room. So yeah, it was a little bit tricky getting the right size, but we got there in the end. Around the other side of the kitchen, we obviously have the same marble. And this one we wanted to take it all up on the wall so you really see like the full effect of it, more so than when it's sort of flat on the surface. We've added a little bullnose detail in on the top of the splashback up here, which is just another little design that just elevates it. And what I really love is you'll see throughout the house, all of the windows have a really nice sort of curve to them. Came a little bit tricky when I told the marble fabricator that the windows were curved, meaning the marble also had to be curved, but we have the finished article where he did manage to sort of curve it off. And then we also managed to keep it in line going through into the pantry over here. So we followed the marble in through from the kitchen, the same marble in here. We've gone for a different style behind the splashback. So just to have a little bit of something different, a little bit fun in here, we have that. We have these really sweet little bib taps, which I love. Same for this sink where we've got the rib details there. It's just really, really lovely. We haven't got the appliances on show. So whenever possible, we try and disguise them either within a cupboard or behind curtains, like here. It just kind of gets them out the way, makes the room still feel quite pretty and put together without having something that isn't quite so pretty on show. And then the only other sort of thing in the room really would be that we decided to colour drench everything. So the cupboards, the panelling, the shelves, all in the same colour, just really to make the room feel quite cosy. It's already a small room with no natural light other than what comes in from the kitchen. So it's quite nice to embrace that with a bit of a darker colour. So back into the kitchen, we have on the island, you can probably see here, we've gone for like quite a rustic stain on the wood and kind of tying in with the rustic floor, gone for a different shade so it's not too clashy, but still really brings out like the rusticness that you feel when you're in the Cotswolds.
Millie, what's in that? Couldn't find you.
Oh, so we have a bar in here, which is hidden away, and the doors sort of tuck in as well as pocket doors. So if you're having people around, you can just have the bar open and people grab their own drinks, which is really nice.
Can we have a rummage that side as well?
Of course. So this one, so same in the pantry. I hate seeing appliances on show. So in here we have a hidden fridge, which is really nice. Quite empty right now, but a lovely fridge and freezer below. Quite convenient. And then we just have a few pantries. This one really just for glassware. What I love as well is if you see the lighting, it comes on really soft. And then through the holes at the top, you can see that it just like fades out rather than just on off. In here we have an integrated microwave and a little pantry. Again, some more marble on the bottom there. Trying to use all the marble we possibly could in this kitchen. Nothing went to waste. And then another little coffee station in here, which is sweet. And on the end, we just have some shelving, again with some nice lighting, sort of lighting it up with some cookbooks. I love the little fiddle rails we've got on here as well, again tying in the brass throughout the kitchen. So this space is a really sort of open plan space for after dinner, kind of coming, sitting down, chilling out. Also really nice for during the day. As you can see now, it's so sunny in here. When it's a little bit hotter, you can have both sets of doors open on both sides, and it's kind of like an inside-outside living. It just feels like you're in part of the garden. We wanted to make sure that the seating area had enough space here really to sit the same amount of people as we have on the table, just to make sure that it's super comfy for everyone. We had both the sofas and the armchairs made bespoke in here. The clients actually chose this fabric. It was one of the first things that they chose for in this room. I think they saw it on Pinterest and fell in love with it. And then the rest of the room has been built around the colours on here. So like we've picked out the red within here, which you have on like accent cushions and also on the stripy blinds. And then it took me honestly hours to sort of colour match this grey green colour in here to get the same for the sofas. They're also super, super comfy, which was a really important thing. We get all of our furniture made in the UK, so it's really nice that I can go and like sit on it and test how comfy it is to make sure that what we're getting made is actually super comfy for the clients and like the priorities that they have is sort of being met with that. We also have these lovely little lampshades, which get a lot of comments. The little pleated lampshades, which we love. And the detail on here is very sweet, just sort of lots of different things to be looking at. And then tying in also, I suppose, with the island, we've got, again, a rustic wood coffee table here, which is quite a similar stain as what's on the island. So just bringing in all sort of that wood theme throughout. And we added these lovely little plaster details as well around the stonework, sort of tying in the new section, which is sort of fully plastered, to what is the old section. That was an external door. You used to be able to get into this room, into the kitchen, from within that area over there. So really sort of full reconfiguration. Got a huge dining table over here. It's really nice to be able to seat so many people. The house currently seats 10, but eventually will be 12 once the outbuilding is done outside. So we wanted to make sure that it seats the maximum number of people. It was impossible to find a dining table so wide and also so long. So we ended up having to get this one made for the clients bespoke. And it's really nice because it's wide enough that you can also have like a buffet sort of serving down the middle, like sharing plates and things, with still like a really good size space for everyone to have their plates and cutlery and glasses. And that was really important to the clients who love to host parties here. The main feature in the dining space was these lights. So we actually ordered these probably like before the orangery was even built to start with. And they were in gigantic boxes in my living room at home for about 6 months before this space was built, because I just didn't trust that the builders weren't going to break them on site or something. I was so paranoid about it. But they're such a lovely feature. I think when they were at home in my house, which isn't so big, it felt like, oh God, have I ordered something that's just far too big? But actually seeing them here, they just fit perfectly. So I love them. We also have some high street finds here. These are from Perch and Parrow, which just work really nicely. I love how the end chairs are slightly different and they've got the little arms to them, just sort of breaking it up a little bit. And we had these custom made just to make them a little bit comfier, and it's also the same fabric as what we've used in the pantry. So it ties through really nicely. This is the more formal living room. There's another one at the front, which I'll show you in a second. This one, we wanted to make it feel more formal, like more of an adult space that maybe kids have gone to bed and you come in here and have some drinks or whatever. And the way we've done that is by making things just feel a little bit more structured. It's still somewhere that we really want it to feel cozy and like you're not scared to sort of sit on the sofas and sit on the chairs, but somewhere that just has more of an adult feel to it. So we've done that really by the textures that we've used. We've got the nice velvet on the sofa over here, just again gives a bit more of an elevated feel. Fully working log burner and a really nice basket that's got a little W on for Wood Farmhouse. The marble on here is the same marble as what we've got in the kitchen, so that ties through as well. The joinery is already existing, but what we did over here was we adapted it slightly. by removing the center panel and creating the space for a TV, which generally people kind of say when they come in, they don't actually notice the TV's here because it's sort of tucked to the side within the cabinetry. The joiners that we used were really clever and really sort of made sure that everything still had all the original detailing on, so it feels like it's kind of always meant to be there, but it's really nice to just use what was existing and make sure that we're not ripping out things that aren't needed to be ripped out. We've got the window, as you saw from the other side, going in through to the orangery here. As I said before, this was the existing exterior window, so this was looking onto the garden. And both sides we have these little window seats, which are just really sweet. Really nice having the radiator below as well. So in winter it's quite cosy. Put your feet up there and you're actually getting warm as well, which is lovely. We have the colours in here. We've gone for a bit of a colour drench. The walls are a slightly different colour to the carpentry, but keeping on the same sort of colour palette. And then again, having all the greens coming through on the furniture and the cushions just sort of really ties it all in together in here. So back into the entrance hall, we then have a downstairs toilet here under the stairs. So we wanted this to be quite fun in here with the wallpaper. So this is sort of the main feature. This was probably what we chose first and then designed the rest of the scheme around the wallpaper. We then have a little green sink that ties in again with the colour of the green. We desperately wanted to have a Thomas crapper in here. I think it's just such a lovely English feature to go with one of the original crappers. Quite a funny name for a toilet company as well. And then match that over with the Thomas crapper sink, so it ties it in really nicely. Yeah, it's just quite a small space, but it just really works for what we've done with it. The panelling is quite a nice detail. And it stays quite light while still having quite a fun feel in the room. Often you find that people go super, super dark in here, but it's quite nice to still have that sort of light and airy feel. Just out of here, we then also have designed a bespoke wine cabinet in here. At the moment, it's just got some local Cotswolds champagne or sparkling wine, and that's quite a nice little feature. Around the corner here, we've added this detail in with the push to open cupboards under the stairs. So you've got 3 going down there, which is just really good for hiding away not so pretty things like hoovers and bits and bobs like that. Over here, so the whole hallway was kind of quite reconfigured. So this was the original doorway into the formal living room, which obviously is now down there. We decided to keep this as a bit of a nook because it then gave us a little bit more depth onto the seat over here. So like when you're sat here putting your boots on or whatever, you've got quite a substantial seat rather than just perching on a little bit on the end here. And then just somewhere that you can hang your coats and they don't really stick out too much. The floor tiles is something that the clients really wanted to have in here. So we've gone with the diamond pattern in the checkerboard marble, which is a really nice feature. I think it gives quite a Cotswoldy countryside feel. It just feels like quite a traditional detail. We also love having, most of our projects we do this where you've got the inset doormat. Just makes it much nicer. There's no sort of trip hazards when you're walking in. It's just much of a nicer clean finish. The only other downstairs room then is through here. We have this little secret room. So because it's a rental, we found that people actually thought it wasn't even a room at all. So we ended up having to actually put a handle on it, which takes away a little bit from the secret, but it's still quite a little novelty room. So in here, we've colour drenched the whole room just to really add to sort of the coziness of the snug. It's really a room that we wanted the children to use when they're in here for like games and movie nights. The sofa is super, super comfy, so you can just like curl up on there and fall asleep watching a film. We kind of added to the playfulness with all of the art that we've got around the room. So it's all like higgledy-piggledy bits and bobs that we've picked up from like antique fairs. Don't think any of it is like new art. It's all just like old vintage pieces, which is really fun. Really big storage ottoman in here for like blankets, extra board games, loads of storage space in there just to kind of keep things out of the way. So whilst it's a kid's room, it's still a room that's quite easy to keep tidy. What's quite funny is the sofa. You see how ginormous the sofa is and how tiny the doorway is to come in here. So the original doorway was sort of where the tennis rackets are over there, and it was a normal sized doorway. So what we had to do was get the sofa delivered before that doorway was blocked up, and then it was just wrapped up really tightly. because there was no way of getting it through the new door. So by the time the builders had finished, we were just sort of praying that it hadn't been damaged, because there was no way to get it out of here. Not sure what they're going to do if they ever want to get rid of it, but for now it looks great and we're happy with it. Again, in here the joinery is all existing. The only modification we've made is on the handles, and we've also added that arch detail at the top. That was just squared off up there. So other than that, it's all existing that we've sort of managed to reuse, try and reuse as much where we can, so it's just not really wasting anything. We've got quite nice lighting in here. We've got the overhead light, which is soft, as you can see, like the lighting is pointing upwards, so there's no sort of harsh direct lighting down on you when you're watching a film, if you still want a little bit more light. And we've got all the picture lights around the room. Same as in the living room, we have a little window bench, which is just quite sweet to sit here, read a book, whatever you might want to do when you're looking out the window. And again, having the radiator underneath is just a nice little cozy feature for in winter, keeping you warm. That's it for the ground floor. The rest of it is upstairs, so come on. Upstairs we have 4 bedrooms on this floor and 1 upstairs, and we're coming into the master bedroom here. One of my favourite little things in here that not many people actually notice is that the side of the headboard has the same fabric as what we've got on the blinds on both windows. I love just focusing in on those small things. What was quite important for the clients was to have quite good storage, because whilst it's a holiday rental, they also come here with their family and can stay here for like a few days at a time. So it's nice to be able to really hang your clothes up, get everything out, unpack it, and also to have a little dressing table space with like a really nice mirror and chair. What we wanted was like quite substantial chairs in most of the rooms as well. So like this is one of the smaller ones, but it's still super comfy. So then if you're there doing your makeup or whatever it might be, then you're actually not just perching, it's somewhere that you can really sit and take your time. We had quite a lot of discussions over window treatments. I love going with the double layers, having the curtains and the blinds. It's also really good for like extra blackout as well, making sure that when it's all shut, absolutely like no light comes in whatsoever. But I think it also really softens it up as well, looks really nice. We have run this colour all around the room, so you'll see it's sort of block colour on the joinery. And then up here into the ensuite, we have the same colour, and we've sort of drenched that then over the vanity as well, so the vanity matches. It's quite a pokey little room in here, but it's sort of got everything you need. You've got a shower within, little vanity with some storage, which is always handy, and a little toilet, and still managing to get some nice art and bits on the wall. Through here, we also have the bunk bedroom, which is generally for kids, but also very good size beds, so could have adults as well. What we realised was actually we have the space to make it into 2 sort of small doubles rather than single beds. So at a push, you could fit 2 adults on both beds if you really needed to sort of squeeze as many people in as possible. This bedroom is our pink bedroom, as you can see. This was something that the client was really insistent on, having this sort of shade of corally pink. I think she saw it on Instagram and just fell in love with it. So we've really used that colour throughout the whole room. Quite a bold colour on the joinery here, but instead of like what we did in the master, we haven't actually run it round because I think it's just a bit too much of a bold colour. It becomes then too pink. So we've used that on there, keeping it just on that side of the room, breaking it up with like the rattan as well within. And then on the bed, we've got sort of varying shades of pink with lots of different textures. So it's been quite a lot of sort of trying to colour match specific colours from different brands, which takes a little bit of time. I really love the shape of the headboard that we've got in here. It's like a little cloud. But this room is always a popular. I've stayed here at the house for my birthday last year, and there were so many arguments on WhatsApp about who was going to have this room. Like everyone loved it. So no, it's probably my favourite room in the house out of the bedrooms. I love this little chair. I love the little frilly base to it. We've also tied in the frilliness of that to the frilliness of the bed. Also has sort of like a ruffled base. Just tying that all together, and as you can see, the blinds are the same fabric as what we've got on the chair. Just so we're not introducing too many different things, but it's still sort of keeping it all in the same sort of colour palette. Ties it in quite nicely there. So into what we have as a family bathroom down here. We've gone for, again, quite a neutral colour palette in here, similar sort of colours to what's in the kitchen. and quite earthy as well. So on the floor, we've got the terracotta tiles, we've got the wooden vanity, and then in the shower, we've got like rustic Moroccan tiles, which again just adds into sort of the rustic character that we're trying to achieve with the room. But no, I love the little family bathroom. I think it's very sweet. And then into the last bedroom on this floor. Again, you'll see it's got a bit of its own sort of colour theme going on. We used Pigeon by Farrow & Ball, which is one of my favourite colours. Like in this room, it looks quite greeny blue, but then in other rooms it looks more grey. So it's a really nice versatile colour. I really love the detail that we've got on the wardrobes in here by having the curtains within. We've done a contrast of a pink, as you can see on the chair here, and on the blinds on both sides of the room, which is just really nice. It adds a little bit of femininity into it, but without being too girly, considering we've got a very pink room next door, and some quite playful artwork as well. I love this little cowboy. And then the headboard, I love. The fabric was a bit of a nightmare to source. We had to get it from America. I think the clients got really set on it and then realised that I actually couldn't get it over here. So that took a long while to come. But I'm very pleased that it has arrived now, and it all just looks lovely as it's all come together. And then there's one more bedroom and bathroom upstairs. So up here on the top floor, we have a small little bathroom and a bedroom in there. The bedroom is more aimed at children, so we've gone with quite a cute little theme of running the same wallpaper up all on the walls, on the ceiling, and then that wallpaper also comes in a fabric, so we've then done that on the Roman blinds as well, just to really tie it all in. Kind of gone for like a little Mary Poppins theme where it's just really cutesy and old-fashioned. We sourced that vintage chest of drawers as well, which I love, and then had it painted to match the colour of the wallpaper, which has got the navy blue and the reddy orange in it as well. And the headboards have been made bespoke because we found that quite tricky, trying to not cut off too much of the light from the windows. Wanted them sort of substantially high enough that you can sit there, read a book or whatever you want to do, but you don't want to block in all of the light that's coming in because the windows are so tiny. So we thought, let's do that little wave detail, and then that sort of allows a little bit more light in than if you were just to do sort of a squared off top. We then have a little theme following in through into the bathroom. So we've picked up on the same sort of orangey red. Within the bathroom, we then have the same orangey red on the vanity, again with the little sort of scallopy detail on the base of the vanity in there. And we wanted to bring the blue in, but we wanted a slightly different shade. So in here, we've gone for more of a greeny blue. And then on the wallpaper, we've got quite a fun pattern. I think it's always nice in a small space to really just have a bit more fun with it. And especially as it's more of a kid's sort of room up here, more of a kid's suite, it's a bit more, less adult, more fun, more playful. So that was really the feel that we were going for in there. It's very, very tiny, but we've managed to fit a toilet, a little vanity, and a shower as well, which is quite a substantial size shower. So up here is completely new, which is why we've then been able to add the bathroom into here, and also quite a good size bedroom, whereas before it was just quite a small bathroom up here was all they were able to fit. So we've managed to gain two quite good spaces up here, and quite quirky as well, which is sweet. That brings us to the end of the house tour. Thanks so much for watching. As I mentioned at the start, the property is available to rent, so if you wanted to check out more information and have a look, there are some links in the description below, as with some of my socials as well, if you wanted to look at some of the other projects we have. Thanks so much. Bye.